stay for a bit longer.
The Mating Call of Cthulhu. Ah, Call of Cthulhu. I see what's going on here. Hello, everybody. I've been enjoying ReddX's readings of Neckbeard stories for some months, and I couldn't help but remember my first encounter with this type of person. Some months. Yeah, MLM is, I guess, like an OG of the channel, so I appreciate you sticking with us. Although back then, I don't think the term neckbeard had actually been coined. I originally shared this story when I discovered r/RPG horror stories about 2 years ago, so at first I thought of simply reposting it here or cross-posting it here, but then I reread what I had posted and wow, there were so many details missing. So here I am, dear readers, to share the full story. Take into account that English is my second language, so I apologize beforehand for any mistakes. And also, credit where credit is due. The title for this story was created by the one and only Ramtide. That's right, he's still lurking around. He told me recently he's going to get back into writing, so we'll see what comes of it. I shared this story with him through Discord a couple of months ago when I started rewriting it, and he came up with this unsettling yet quite appropriate title. Anyways, on to the story. Prologue. This story took place around 10 years ago. Maybe a bit more, I can't exactly remember. Since this happened during the summer, I think I had just finished my first year of classes at university. In any case, I was about to turn either 18 or 19 at the time. That's a small detail, but it does add to the creep factor. I should preface this by talking about one of my best friends. She changed schools in our last year of high school, but it's not like she moved to another town. She was simply fed up with the way some teachers taught the classes that she was in, so she finished high school at a different one. In her new high school, she quickly developed a crush on one of her classmates. I could see why, since he was absolutely her type, thin, relatively attractive, and a metalhead. She, of course, wanted to get to know him better by spending time with him outside of classes. They would go into vastly different career paths after they both graduated high school, so she had to be quick. When he told her that he usually went to the tabletop gaming club of the Youth Association Center in the next town over, she knew that was her chance. Oh boy. Tabletop gaming club, this guy might harbor a deeper, darker side than you knew. However, she would have been mostly out of her element in such a place, so she wasted no time to give the nerdiest of her friends a call. And this is where I enter the story. Wingman! Or wing lady? The very first day we went there, we couldn't help but notice that a considerable amount of people in this so-called youth group were quite a bit older than us. Probably around their late 20s or somewhere in their 30s, but whatever, I guess. We went a couple of times and played some random tabletop games, and we had fun. Still, my friend thought she owed me a favor for tagging along, so she asked me how she could possibly repay me. I didn't really feel that was necessary, as I was having fun, but we were in the perfect place to grant one simple request. I'd recently discovered the works of H.P. Lovecraft, and I was hooked. I've always been a fan of horror and dark fantasy, and the general tone and atmosphere of his stories were exactly the kind of horror that I enjoyed the most. Back then, I think he was relatively unknown in our country, Spain, so I was dying to be able to find other nerds that I could talk with about Lovecraft stories and the Cthulhu mythos. Therefore, the way she could repay me was clear. Find someone in the club to run a short campaign of the role-playing game Call of Cthulhu for me. Well, she obliged and asked around. Some weeks later, we had a group ready to go. And thus, just like in many Neckbeard stories, here's the list of the dramatis personae. OP, myself of course, nerdy girl studying an engineering degree at the time, long-haired brunette that despite the burning summer sun in Spain is basically always pale, immediately regretted the choice of attire that day, the object of the Neckbeard's desires. Uh-oh. San, my friend. Born Colombian but raised in Spain, at the time she was studying to become a cook. I have no idea why the Neckbeards left her alone. Maybe it was because of her skin color, dark, while the rest of us were pale white, her choice of attire, maybe because she was given a male character, or perhaps they just thought that she and her crush were actually a thing already. Speaking of which, she slowly lost interest in him, and he's not even present in the rest of this story. Oh, fickle. Newbie. I had completely forgotten about this guy, and I only remembered that he was there while reviewing the story. But he didn't do much, so you could understand why I forgot he was even there. He was a shy, thin, pale, nerdy guy that went to Sans class in the new high school. And the reason everyone is here, the fedora-less neckbeards of our tale. CRYPT, the guy running the game. In Call of Cthulhu, the dungeon or game master is instead called the Keeper of Arcane Lore, or just the Keeper, thus the name. He's definitely 10 or so years older than San, Newbie, and me, and he fits the traditional nerd stereotype to a T. Overweight, pale, dressed in black, etc. Massive beard, the fattest of all the guys in the club, and most likely in his 30s. If CRYPT looked like the traditional nerd stereotype, with this guy's weight and not so clean clothes, this guy is even a level beyond that. Rando beards. I honestly can't remember anything about the rest of the guys involved, but I'm certain that there were at least 2 or 3 more guys at the table that also fit the fat nerd stereotype, and again, were older than us. What a youth group. Get these 30-year-old predatory men around these 18-year-old girls. That's what we call a youth group. Okay. Who's running this thing? Shouldn't they have been, like, politely escorted out of the building? I'm sorry, you're no longer a youth. You have to go. I do really like Call of Cthulhu as a game, although I haven't had a chance to participate in one myself. From what I understand, it's like, instead of being these overpowered heroes, basically everybody's just a frail human, which I think is a pretty interesting dynamic. I did attempt to review a game called Call of Cthulhu on my gaming channel like 3 years back or something like that, but that game was not what I thought it was going to be. So I kindly set it aside. Anywho, now we get into the mating call. The day of the session finally came. The heat was particularly unbearable, so I decided to wear one of my favorite summer dresses, black at the top and bottom edges, but the rest had like a watercolor floral pattern. Thanks to the thin fabric of this sleeveless V-cut dress, I saved myself from absolutely melting at the bus stop as I waited for San to arrive. But sadly, this also meant that I was showing more cleavage than your average neckbeard is used to seeing at any point in their lives. Huge mistake on my part. I'm an idiot, I know. That does not make you an idiot. You should be able to wear whatever you want to wear, OP. These dudes need to keep their freaking eyeballs in their head and learn to treat other people like people, even if they do got vaginas and stuff. But I get it. They don't get out much. What a tangent. Alright, game face on. I should have checked who was gonna be there first, but I hadn't noticed any red flags from the people in the club before, so I just had no reason to worry. San, when she finally arrived, had been more sensible than me, and had chosen to wear a t-shirt and summer trousers. We walked to the youth center from the bus stop, and when we got there we recognized Newbie, looking as shy as ever. I don't think he said more than a simple, "Hi," to us. Aside from him, we were not too thrilled to discover that the only other people there were our group of sweaty neckbeards, who quickly led us to a table, and I remember sitting in between CRYPT and San with Massive Beard facing me. It's well known that neckbeards usually emanate a particular stench, but thankfully, as it was summer, they didn't smell any worse than would be expected from sweating overweight men. I think you're being too kind there. Although sweating overweight men is quite evocative. When we were finally ready to get started, CRYPT gave us some quick details of the adventure. It was a one-shot that he had found online. For those of you not used to tabletop RPGs, a one-shot is a game that's short enough to be completed in just a single session. As with most Call of Cthulhu games, it took place in the 1920s, And it started with the news that a college professor had been brutally murdered in his house. With this little bit of info, he gave us our character sheets. Since it was a one-shot, these were pre-made characters. This way we didn't have to waste time with character creation. The rando beards and newbies got to play as police officers or private investigators. I don't remember their exact role. Massive Beard was another college professor that worked in the same department as the victim, while San got lucky and was a dilettante, basically a rich dude that had an interest in rare foreign art of all kinds, and he used to be friends with the victim. So far, so good. But then, I was handed my character sheet. I was Massive Beard's secretary, or rather, Massive Beard's
Sexy secretary.
a secretary, if you will. Keeper Beard started to describe my character by saying,
She was a party girl that liked to get around.
As he was describing her physique, the only character for which he had a physical description, by the way, he was interrupted by the other beardos. Rando Beard,
So, quite attractive, right?
Massive Beard,
The word you're looking for is fuckable.
Keeper Beard,
Well, fuckable doesn't necessarily require someone to be attractive, though. She's both.
Rando Beard,
Let's just agree on hot, then.
Massive Beard,
Or ravishing.
M'lady looks ravishing today. They went on for a bit, trying to decide what was the best word to describe my character, while I was sitting there, mortified. Looking at my friend and feeling watched by prying eyes. Newbie didn't take part in the wording debate, but just looked as meek and confused as us, probably thinking that the most sensible course of action was to take no action, actually. So he remained silent, as he basically always did. The game finally began, with the Rando Beards and Newbie investigating the scene of the crime. Keeper Beard described how parts of the victim's body were strewn all around his living room. It was then that San remembered her cooking lessons and said something that made the Neckbeards back off for a while.
To be fair, cutting a person's up with a right kitchen knife wouldn't be very different from slicing a chicken.
All the greasy man-children of varying sizes looked at her dumbfounded, while San and I laughed at their reaction. I forced myself to laugh a bit harder, hoping that the Neckbeards would think that I was some kind of psycho and just leave me alone. It only worked on them for a little while. Newbie's expression, on the other hand, could be described as a deer caught in the headlights. Keeper Beard,
No. It's clear that a knife couldn't have done this. It's more like his body has exploded.
the Rando Beards try to gather more information about the crime, but their efforts didn't amount to much compared to the ancient powers that rule supreme over those who dare try their luck in their eldritch domain. The Great Old Ones, simply known as the percentile dice. None of their dice rolls were successful, and they had to leave the place empty-handed. Therefore, the only logical next step was to investigate the acquaintances of the victim, aka the rest of the players, starting with Massive Beard. Once on the college campus, Massive Beard and I didn't have much to say about the victim, beyond what little Keeper Beard had told us, so Massive Beard sent me to fetch the spare key to the victim's office, where he tried to find any letters, notes, or documentation that his character could have exchanged with his now deceased colleague. Luckily, he seemed to be still processing my reaction to what San had said before. Either that, or maybe he had a sliver of decency, because throughout the whole ordeal that this session was, he never tried to exert the power that his character had over mine. Massive Beard was not able to learn anything useful, but I obtained the office key, so we all went there to investigate. Inside the office, we managed to find some information about what the professor had been working on, as well as San's name among his contacts. While all of this had been going on, San's character had received a visit from an acquaintance that wants him to sponsor a play that they want to put out in the theater next month. I can't remember how, but We did manage to learn that the professor had been involved in the screenplay, as it was based on an old tome that he had been translating, The King in Yellow. And any of you out there that are fans of the Cthulhu mythos would be familiar with that title. But we still didn't know exactly what had happened to the professor, so we decided that we needed to track down members of the theatrical troupe and those who worked on the screenplay to interrogate them. At this point, Keeper Beard keeps looking at his watch and declares,
There's no way we're finishing today before the center closes for the evening. This is as good a stopping point as any, so why don't we continue this in the cave?
OP, I'm sorry? A cave? Massive Beard.
Yeah, we just give it that name because of the entrance, but it's a place that we senior members of the club have rented, so we can continue playing when we have to leave this place in the evening.
He explains to me, and then he turns to Keeper Beard.
It's a great idea. The others are there already, and we could have some drinks too.
San and I shrugged. Don't shrug! Drunk neckbeards? Bad news. By then, it seemed the gross comments from before had subsided, and Newbie would also be coming, so we agreed to go. The place was not that far from the youth center, but the Neckbeardicus Maximus specimen is not suited for leisurely strolls, so they had to drive there. Sharing a ride with these neckbeards was not particularly appealing, but at least San, Newbie, and I all shared the same car, so, you know, strength in numbers and all that. Was it a neckbeard mobile? Did it have, like, McDonald's cups all over the floor? I guess if it's not in the story, then it's not something to note. But whenever I hear about a neckbeard's car, I just imagine a rolling pile of trash. I'm not sure that I can properly convey the strangeness of the location of this so-called cave, but I'll try my best. They parked in front of an apartment building and took us to a nearby passageway that created a tunnel in the side of the building, effectively connecting the street where we had left the cars to the street behind the building. Cave was an appropriate way to put it. Despite the summer sun still shining with enough force, the long passageway was not properly lit. More unsettling was to discover that our destination did not lie at the other end of the corridor, but within the single rusty door right in the middle of it. Bad vibes, bro. The not-so-large room that the door hid was barely habitable, and I could smell the humidity coming from the gray walls. Oh god. It was not unlike the basement in Lovecraft's The Shunned House. It was the dank, humid cellar, which somehow exerted the strongest repulsion on us, even though it was wholly above ground on the street side, with only a thin door and a window-pierced brick wall to separate it from the busy sidewalk. We scarcely knew whether to haunt it in spectral fascination or to shun it for the sake of our souls and our sanity. For one thing, the bad odor of the house was strongest there, and for another thing, we did not like the white fungus growths which occasionally sprang up in rainy summer weather from the hard earth floor. That's a good excerpt. What did Mona the Mantis say? These neckbeards remind me of fungus. They're all erect with thirst. Okay, well, I don't recall there being any actual fungus growths, but it wouldn't have surprised me if there were. As we entered, I noticed that at the back of the room was a reduced group of about 4 people, hunched over a table, painting Warhammer miniatures. I was relieved to see that one of those people was another woman, even though her hair was greasy, and she wore a somewhat dirty and childish pink tracksuit that seemed really quite odd for her age. I'd guess that she either wore that because she was painting minis, or because that's what she found when she was looking for discount Lolita clothing. She got up and, without saying anything to the rest of us, went straight to Massive Beard and kissed him, then went back to her seat. Apparently, they were married? We sit down at another table close to the entrance and resume the session. Each one of us would try to get in contact with different people, and my character found herself alone in one of the bars that she usually went to, according to Keeper Beard, where one of the screenplay writers would allegedly be. As I got inside, I noticed him, sitting at the table by himself. Not knowing what else to do, I approach him, and in character, I simply say, "I see the seat is empty, and you look lonely. Would you care for some company?" With just this sentence, the whole group of neckbeards lost their collective shit. Pray, tell me, was it really that erotic? Is it the neckbeard dream that a random woman suddenly approaches them asking to sit by their side? Why am I even asking? That is exactly their dream, isn't it? Nailed it. I don't recall what exactly they were saying, but it was something along the lines of, "Massive beard,
OP, offer him something more. That lucky bastard will be telling you everything you want to know and more."
This spoken from the guy whose freaking wife was sitting at the other table. Keeper Beard.
I wouldn't even make you roll to see if you're successful. What's the point? It'd be an insta-success.
The hooting of the horny neckbeards continued. And I didn't know how to react, so my brain kind of just disconnected. This time, San couldn't think of any other clever interjections that would scare them off, and Newbie, well, he was there too, I guess. I imagine that this time both of us looked like twin deers frozen in place. At this point, I basically lost all interest in the game, and I just sat there for the rest of the evening, waiting for it to be over. As such, I can't give many details about what happened afterwards, except the disastrous ending. We failed to learn enough about the play to discover that it was actually a ritual to summon an avatar of Haster, the King in Yellow. We allowed the play to be performed, and when Haster made his triumphant entrance, all of our characters were instantly driven insane and/or outright killed. At least it's mercifully over, I guess. So, you know, the usual gaming experience in Call of Cthulhu. Keeper Beard finished describing the gruesome events and said,
"To be quite honest, I don't know how you would have been able to stop what was going on."
We didn't care for explanations. As soon as he finished, San and I quickly booked it out of their neckbeard cave, never to set foot in it or the youth center ever again. We ignored their pleas to just
stay for a bit longer.
But we did leave Newbie there. Oh no! Still frozen, almost like a sacrificial lamb. Poor little guy. He didn't do nothing. Which reminds me that we never heard what became of Newbie. See why I said before that I had forgotten he was even there? I hope he didn't become yet another neckbeard and just found a different group to hang around with. I feel bad that we left him there, but really we just wanted to get out of there ASAP. San still kept in contact with her crush a little bit longer to learn that these senior club members demanded that the other people in the club pay the rent of not just the space in the youth center, but also of their little neckbeard man cave, which most people in the club, understandably, did not use. Jesus. All of this ended up with the disbanding of the club itself, and somehow Massive Beard's marriage as well. No idea how that happened, but to be honest, it's really not my business, and I could not care less. So there you have it. It's probably not as creepy or cringy as any of the other neckbeard encounters that you can find on Reddit, but I felt incredibly uncomfortable that evening. I had always heard stories of awkward nerds or even just misogynistic ones that don't welcome women into their spaces, but it was my first time ever experiencing such a thing for myself. Then these same people complain that women don't like their hobbies. The hobby is not the issue. Their attitude is. Anyways, thanks for reading. I hope you have a better evening than the one that I had all those years ago. Honestly, that place had bad vibes written all over it. I don't know how you mustered up the courage to go into there, outnumbered by neckbeards, mind you, just to finish a Call of Cthulhu game that honestly doesn't seem like it was all that interesting. It doesn't seem like Keeper Beard had any plan for like how to resolve this aside from Haster making his grand entrance and killing everybody, basically. Crappiest dungeon master I ever seen. I think they kept things relatively tame in the youth center because there were people who weren't in this like inner ring or whatever it is that's basically embezzling money into renting out some shoddy little weird place in order to run their weird games and paint Warhammer miniatures. What the hell's going on here, dude? But then once you're in the den, surrounded by the inner clique, then they're hooting and hollering over, would you like some company? Neckbeards swear that they're in like the Renaissance, and a girl shows a little bit of ankle and they're like, oh, harlot! Oh god, I don't get it. I don't want to, honestly. I am somewhat curious about Massive Beard and his wife and their breakup and all that, but honestly, I'm glad that you just removed yourself from the situation, OP. The study of neckbeards is not worth risking yourself over, honestly. Okay, let's go! Legbeard asks me to draw some inappropriate drawings. Draw some inappropriate drawings. Feels redundant. I guess we'll see how it goes. Hello again! So I was talking with a friend about what we did in middle school since we both went to different middle schools, and she mentioned something about some otaku guy that basically snapped a memory in my head which I had somehow managed to suppress. Also, apologies for any formatting or grammatical errors. I am on mobile. Okay, let's go! I've mentioned this earlier in another post, but to reiterate, I draw almost all the time, especially back in middle school. I didn't socialize that much, and showing my drawings to people was a really effective icebreaker to talk to new people. Not sure if it worked for anyone else, but that is what I did. I spent practically most of my free time in classes just drawing, and I filled up tons of sketchbooks. Back in 8th grade, my family had to move out of state. This happened around the time we had a week off for Thanksgiving, so it was somewhat easy in some parts and not so easy in others. So this practically means that I had to go to a brand new school right in the middle of the year. Better make friends quick. Now, if this happened when I was in the 6th or 7th grade, I might have had a nervous breakdown. But in the 8th grade, I started to have more confidence in myself, as well as meet more people so I could just generally be better at socializing. I saw this as a new opportunity to see the world, even if it was just part of our state. That counts as part of the world, doesn't it? So we moved. It takes a week to get settled, and after the following days, I get registered to a brand new middle school. It wasn't as bad as I expected. Many people were very kind. I made a few friends, and this one girl offered to show me around the school during lunch. I'm friends with this girl to this day. We'll call her Kitty. She comes in later in this story. So anyways, it's the same old school stuff, goofing around, talking with friends, and of course, drawing a shit ton. I think I filled 2 drawing notebooks in the first 2 months that I was there. I saw a lot of the same people in about half my classes, and so people like to watch me draw. It's nothing bad, I mean, I'm used to it. It's usually people talking to their other friends, and they'll just keep giving glances at my drawing and ask to look at it. Sometimes I even ask my classmates what I should draw, since I run out of ideas pretty quickly. This is where our Legbeard comes in. For simplicity, I'll call her Fujo. Short for Fujoshi. All we learned about Fujoshis, that's on my Facebook. It's a video that I didn't upload to YouTube. But for those that didn't see that Facebook video, Fujoshi are basically literally translated as rotten women. They enjoy boy love and yaoi comics, but they kind of dehumanize the gay community. They're like, ooh, whoa, my little dirty babies and stuff like that. It's really weird. And definitely something that OP should have watched out for. But I assume he didn't know that she was a Fujoshi at the time. Oh, and then he goes on to explain. So I'll just shut up now. I'll explain. A Fujoshi is a term given to girls that are 1, otaku, and 2, really enjoy yaoi, or gay erotic manga or anime. It's like intense anime fangirls that like shipping 2 dudes. Well, that's a brief outline, but I like my definition better. Because yeah, objectification in the gay community is the real problem that most people have with fujoshis. P.S. Just because a girl says she's an otaku does not mean that she's automatically a fujoshi. Fujo was a few months older than me. She was
Sassy!
but often it seemed that she was just really rude. She was a bit overweight, if I recall. Not too much, but noticeable. She also wore hoodies that had the name of an anime on it, or just really baggy hoodies in general. She was about 2 inches shorter than me, which, to be fair, I'm kinda short for a guy, only being 5'7" at the time I'm writing this, and she often told lies to her friends. Nothing too serious, but it certainly got annoying. So, as I mentioned before, I would sometimes ask for drawing requests whenever. During lunch, she asked if I could draw an anime character, and I accepted it. It took me a bit to finish it, since I'm not that great in drawing that anime style. Side note, I'm pretty sure all artists now have gone through an anime art style phase at some point. Hell yeah, anime's a cool style. Can't deny that. Anyways, she says, "Thanks!" and goes on with her day. About 2 days later, she asked if I could draw her something else. I say sure, and she pulls out her phone and shows me a screenshot of two anime guys who are really close to each other, like almost on top of each other. I look at it for a moment and then proceeded to draw it. It made me a bit uncomfortable, so I practically tried to draw it as fast as I possibly could. She says, "Thanks!" again, and I don't see her for a bit. A month later, I'm in the library. I'm going through some books since I was really bored. It was me and a few other people since it was during lunch. I decided to leave, so I walked back to the desk where I left my stuff, and I see Fujo walking in. She seems surprised to see me. She walks over and asks for another drawing. I accept, stop accepting. The last one made you uncomfortable, stop accepting. But still, OP accepted and asked, what of? And I kid you not, this is how the conversation went. Fujo,
Do you know what hentai is?
OP, what? Fujo,
Hentai! You know, it's more mature anime.
OP, I've only got into anime, so no, sorry. Fujo,
Oh, really? That sucks. Well, you have to know, or maybe at least heard of yaoi, right?
OP, yeah, I have, unfortunately. Fujo,
Well, can you draw me something like that, but with these two characters that I really like?
she shows me two more anime guys, then goes into detail about what kind of things she wants them to be doing. It was something like them almost being completely naked while eating some Pocky. Oh, God. I don't know why Pocky gets me the most out of that whole thing. It's just so random. I tell her I'm not exactly comfortable drawing stuff like that. Also, I believe this was when I started having thoughts about my sexuality. Since before moving, my parents found out that I was watching clips of gay movies and shows, some of them having lewd scenes. No, it wasn't technically porn. I got in trouble mostly because of what I was watching. However, I believed that I had got in trouble because it was something gay, so I was afraid of what would happen if I was drawing something gay. She tells me that
It's nothing to worry about, and that it might be a good experience for me.
I ask her how, and her excuse was that
Real artists draw naked people all the time.
they don't draw anything else, just naked people all the time. Not wanting to continue arguing, I decide to start drawing the basic lines in the library as she somewhat watches me, but is mostly just on her phone. We were at one of the tables that was in the library, and once I started adding details, I slowed down my progress. Eventually, I just put my pencil away.
What's wrong?
She asked. I told her that this drawing was making me uncomfortable and that I'm not going to finish the drawing. She stares at the incomplete drawing, says that
She'll take the drawing regardless of if it was finished or not.
and stuffed it in her bag. But the tone of her voice was off-putting. She walks out, and I do as well, and I don't see her for about a week and a half, mostly in the one class that we share. Eventually, she comes to me again, asking me to draw that kind of stuff. I tell her no, but she continues to bother me about it, even after I clearly told her about how it made me uncomfortable. She keeps bothering me for about a month. Man, this is why school's so rough. You're like trapped with these people. Ah, dang. Eventually, she started spreading rumors about me, as legbeards are wont to do. She's been telling people that
For a lot of drawings I made, I was either tracing them or stole them from another artist at school.
now I got pissed. Fortunately, a lot of people didn't believe her since I literally draw in front of other people. So I call her out about it during lunch while she was eating outside. I'd taken enough bullshit from my other schools, and I wasn't gonna let this incident affect me. So I pulled her aside and told her to cut her shit. We began arguing, and some of her friends come towards us to see what all the fuss is about. I tell them my side of the story, and I see the gears turning in their heads. Apparently, Fujo said that I was drawing yaoi for my own pleasure, and just happened to give one uncompleted drawing to her. Since Fujo lied a lot, and some stuff she said didn't add up, they believed me. She even had the drawing that I made in her binder from what they told me, so I avoided her for the rest of 8th grade. My family moved again, but to the other side of town, so we attended different high schools. My friend that I mentioned before, Kitty, actually went to the same high school as Fujo. She transferred to my high school about 2 months into sophomore year. From what she told me, Fujo acted pretty much the same for most of freshman year, but ended up getting in some serious trouble with her parents. I won't say for what, but don't worry, it ain't too bad, I guess. She got in trouble, and Kitty told me that she started acting differently. It took time, but she started changing who she was, and she made a lot of progress on becoming a better person. She still likes yaoi, but at least she is taking some better steps. And honestly, I respect her for that. Well, to an extent. But it's hard to change that way, so I will give her that. Apologies for the length. Well, it's not the worst Fujoshi that we've ever seen, but automatically I'm a little bit wary around people like that. She just refused to take no for an answer. She's not even commissioning the dude. She's just like, draw this for me for free. Who are you? I owe you nothing. I said it made me uncomfortable. Now, fuck off. For months, bro, I would have blown up probably after a week. Just been like, I'm gonna smash your face with a brick. But I am proud of OP for standing up for himself, you know. It's not an easy thing to do, but I guarantee that's the reason that this didn't go any farther than it did. As for Fujo, well, I'm glad that she's making progress towards becoming a better person. The truth is, none of us are our best selves in high school. We have to learn and temper ourselves and sign the social contract in some sort of way, which it seems like she is doing, so I have to applaud her for that. Like I say, beards are not all lost causes. You know, whether you're a leg beard or a neck beard, we all kind of went through that point in our life, and I think that's why we find it so interesting to sit down and watch videos about them. This is something that all of us either have been or we're very close to being, so I'm glad to hear that this one came out with a good ending, and I hope Fujo continues her progress into becoming a normal and productive member of society. Anyways, let's get into 2 stories now. They're part of the same saga, so we can make this Legbeard story nice and beefy, as it deserves to be. So let's jump right into it. The Legbeard Queen of IMVU, which is, from what I can tell, some sort of online chat room, sort of like Second Life. And there is quite a lot of cringe to be had in Second Life. Maybe we'll dive into that someday, do a little deep dive. But for right now, we'll just read this Legbeard story and kind of dip our toes in and see how it goes. So, to be fair, at that time, when I first met her, I had no idea what a Legbeard was, and the concept wasn't even really made popular yet, so I'm talking years ago. It's only recently that I've made the connection that she was a genuine Legbeard with all the boxes pretty much checked. Knowing that made the whole view that I had of those years knowing her so much worse. I already posted a Neckbeard story to this subreddit a while back, and I got a humongous amount of support from it, so thank you all again for that. I'm sure we will cover that at a later date. I mentioned in that story that I had never before encountered a neckbeard. That, however, did not include this lady that I'm about to speak of. But first, some background story and some roll calling. My name will be Trans, as in my previous story, since it worked out pretty well, and it was easily explainable since I'm a transgender female to male. Online, it was a lot easier to partake in the role of a male, and nobody would question me. It was my one escape, without being afraid of confrontation with my parents. I was 16 at the time. Then we had Big Sis, a nice girl on IMVU that immediately took a liking to me in friendship sort of ways, and she asked her roleplay IMVU mother if I could become part of the family. Segue in the IMVU mother and all-around legbeard queen of IMVU. I have to be more obscure about her name, since I'm fairly sure she has sons or daughters that scout Reddit from time to time, and obvious nicknames would definitely create quite a shitstorm for me. Or it could make others hunt her down because of this, which I don't want to stand for at all. Witch hunting is not my agenda here. Feel that, OP. That's why I got that disclaimer at the beginning, okay? Everybody deserves second chances, in most cases. I guess we'll have to pass our judgment on this online mother. Let's call her Miss Obley, since she was extremely oblivious to her own manipulative ways. So yeah, we'll go with that. And let's get the story going now. As stated, I was 16 when all this happened, and I had finally started to learn that I was more comfortable being a male online than I was being a female. I didn't know that it was called being transgender, and never made it apparent that I was actually a female online. Call it catfishing, I completely understand if you see it like that, but it was my way of escape. Cue in IMVU, a chat simulator where I could have the avatar I wanted, could look how I wanted, and act how I wanted people to perceive me. I felt like I was much closer with being okay with myself back then, but then came the IMVU family experience. This is already a lot of cringe for me to handle. Oh, I think it's great that OP could be who they want online, but making up a fake family, like, I don't get it. But Second Life is popular. I mean, you can't argue with success. Anyways, it wasn't all that bad per se. It had good moments, and a lot of the family I was in respected and liked me, simply because I had no filter and spoke my mind about what I thought was wrong or incorrect. Then in came Miss Obley. I've seen her on cam a couple of times, since it was routine for them to ask that of their family members. What the fuck? On Skype, they could have the most contact with you, and they did expect you to be online every day, all of your free time, so you could spend it with your, as she stated,
Real family.
what? That should have already picked up some huge red flags for me, but since I didn't have many friends at the time, I really had no other hobby to keep me occupied. So I was mostly online, talking and causing the least amount of trouble for them. I was perfect. But I was perfect. Nobody's perfect. I don't even know what kind of trouble you could possibly get in, like not logging in every day. Eat my ass, bro. I don't like this game that much. This chat room simulator. But back to the topic at hand. Miss Obley checks all of the boxes that I have read a legbeard to possess. She was seriously overweight to the point where she couldn't even walk a couple of feet, or she'd get extremely winded and had to sit down. She had greasy brown, shoulder-length hair, a fat nose, pimples everywhere due to a poor diet, and most likely hardly showered or took a bath, since someone that size can probably not fit in a bath or shower, in my opinion. Go ahead and ask President Taft about that. Ooh, that's a deep cut. She cried constantly when things didn't go her way, and often blamed it on people themselves instead of validating that she might actually have a problem and doing something about it. She coerced people to do what she wanted by either acting like a small child or guilt-tripping you. God, have I known some people like this. Cut them out. Her oblivious nature kicked in on those topics a lot, and also on the person that she kept dating. The father figures she brought in were all liars. Most of the family knew this and were pretty much aware of her blind attitude towards this person. She wanted her
Prince to sweep her off her feet and just take her away to a magic castle where she doesn't have to do anything all day but sit online and eat junk and do nothing.
Secretly, that's what we all want, but life doesn't work that way. These men were absolute scumbags, and she never knew exactly how badly they really treated her and her family. And if she knew, she just simply didn't care. They got angry at us when we weren't around enough. Angry when we hung around other families, and most of all, they got angry when we didn't see them as true parents and had comments about how they did things. They would guilt trip us so hard that we would feel absolutely horrible about ourselves, and they told us that we needed them more than we do. Most of the family of kids she had were below my age. I was one of the oldest ones. One of them even recently sought contact with me again. She'd been explaining to me how the behavior from back then had made her extremely depressed and gave her some extreme self-doubt. She couldn't see herself as a person properly on some days, and that made me really sad. I once had enough, and I told them that they had to either fix it, break up, or I would be leaving the family, which caused Miss Obley to pipe up and start crying.
Now I'm crying. Look what you did. Do you really want this? Is this what you were after?
And
my poor heart can't take this. Why do you do all this? And why can't you let me be happy? Fine, just leave then.
Okay, I will. Her husband wasn't all that better, taking this as an insult to his authority, and started making threats towards me and my fellow kin, causing an even worse uproar of defiance from us.
Your accounts will be hacked. I'll send a word to my friend, and he'll hack all of you. I don't ever want you to come back, you hear me? I'd rather die than allow you back into our perfect home.
Oh, God, it's so cringy, dude. Kids, be careful. Dad is elite hacksaw. Meanwhile, Miss Obley just kept crying and crying, or at least she typed that she was crying, which is dubious at best when you really think about it. They were both extremely stubborn and wouldn't even hear us out that we didn't want to leave, we just wanted to make things better, and that leaving was the ultimatum that I was willing to make if things weren't taken seriously, because I wanted nothing to do with a poisonous, fake online family. Well, she and her husband just kicked me out, which bit her in the ass at the end because most of the family, especially the kids, liked me, so they left alongside me. I have a feeling she never truly forgave me for that. If you've dealt with someone like this, please talk to me. People like this can truly mess you up, and if you've had a similar encounter on Second Life or IMVU, don't hesitate to come forward. I might add some other happenings later on if this actually helps people to detect someone vile and manipulative like this. The stories get quite bizarre after my first encounter because this is not the last that I ever saw of Obley, but that's maybe for another day. No, not another day. It's for today. We're gonna jump right into it. No hesitation. I need some more of this. The Legbeard Queen of IMVU, Part 2. Behind that leg. What? Small roll call to refresh some memories. I'm trans. My IMVU sister is Big Sis. The queen herself, called Miss Obley, and her newest husband, which, surprise, surprise, was a definitive neckbeard himself. We'll call him Family Beard, since that was all he talked about, and seemed to revere it to an almost perfect standpoint. If you weren't fitting, or you just seemed out of place, he'd try to kick you out, or try to reform you with his magical powers. What? And thoughts on today's society. Trying to always poke around and blast holes into your opinions with supreme logic. He's so euphoric. He never tried it with me because I was rather smart, and most of the other kids had my back. I think he saw me as a genuine threat, and therefore didn't challenge what he knew he couldn't win. Weeby was my other, smaller IMVU sister, and she was the poor thing that had most of the burn from the years of being pushed down by these two. I also had a brother who will be named Dragon, since he's a huge fan of DBZ and everything surrounding it. After the first family drama incident, I kept away from most families on IMVU, since I didn't want to deal with anything like that anymore, and I wanted to just focus more on friendships, some that I still have to this day. So to be fair, IMVU wasn't as much of a cesspool as people always claim it to be. It had its good perks, deep within. Try logging on it nowadays, bro. That is some ultimate cringe. Lo and behold, Oblee once again reached out to me once I was 19, which surprised me because I was sure that I had blocked her the moment that I left, and this was a genuine shock for me to see her. Creepy, actually, since she had found my Facebook and added me on there, sending me messages about
How she was wronged, and she should have listened to me. How the man she first had been with wasn't her prince at all, and didn't treat her with the respect that she deserved.
respect yourself first. It felt a bit convoluted, but I just hoped that she had learned from this experience and had grown smarter because of it. Joke's on me. I learn now that these people rarely do. From the first moment that I got back to her, unblocked her, and got into a room where most of her
New family?
now was in, she immediately introduced me to her newest husband. I cringed. And we cringed right along with you, Oblee.
Hello, trans. I missed you so much. I'm so glad you're back, and now our family's complete again. I wanted to introduce you to my new husband, Family Beard.
OP? Oh, hi, Family Beard.
I heard from Oblee that you have Asperger's. Is that true?
OP? Yeah. To be fair, this made me more than slightly uncomfortable since I don't like bringing it up. I always feel like when I do, it's like I'm giving an excuse for acting the way that I do or not getting social cues as much as other people. So I always tried to keep it moderately obscure for that same reason. Him bringing that up meant that Oblee probably spilled most of the things that I told her in confidence, which in turn made me kinda angry. But what Family Beard said after that made me want to nope right the fuck out of there immediately. Family Beard.
You know that's all bullshit, right? Everyone is just shoving you in boxes, like they shoved my dear Lady Oblee in a box for being the way she is. You're now part of this family, so you should act like the upstanding person you are. Everyone else is just beneath you.
Oh yeah, we're the kings of IMVU, son. Oh god, some good cringe. I kid you not, I could not make this up if I tried. Such cringe, obviously, now makes me think of a Tumblr SJW who proclaims,
Everyone born male, white, and privileged is just trash.
little background note, he was apparently pansexual, Filipino, and
An absolute hunk.
according to Oblee. Let's just say Skype cam doesn't lie, and that absolute hunk was indeed a big hunk of body mass. But she was all over him, trying to get everyone to see her point of view, and each day it was the same routine.
He's such a good father. I'm sure we'll have so many babies, and he'll treat them so much better than all those other parents out there. You should all come to live with us once he gets here. Big Sis and Weeby will have to wait, though, because we don't have enough room yet.
Which was just a way for her to show that she was actually just being kinda jealous. Family Beard was acting according to his namesake, as he had made multiple advances onto my IMVU sisters at times, and it was absolutely disgusting. Oh no, the cringe deepens. We liked the family setting and being there for one another, but this was absolutely revolting how he would make advances and then blast away their self-esteem if they didn't go in on it. He did this with many others, and I only know this because they told me and showed me screenshots of the conversations. He never dared to do this when Oblee or I were around. It went from,
You have such a nice body. I'm sure you got that from your mother. Oh, what I wouldn't give to watch you dance for me.
God. That's so almost too much. Oh, my body, I can't. And
Obley never talks to me like you do. Maybe one day we could have a deeper connection. Oh, I could always look into my stones to see your future. I bet it's bright with me.
look into your stones? What? And this is also the first case of a Filipino neckbeard that I've heard of. So breaking stuff here. This is new ground. Of course, Obley wasn't that oblivious and had walked in on him a couple of times, but instead of working that out on him and giving the proper reaction, she worked it out on my sisters, belittling them and threatening to
Not even go near him in that way.
It caused a lot of self-esteem to be broken down, and in the end, I didn't even recognize them anymore since they became afraid of everything. Later on, Big Sis just disappeared from my MVU altogether, and it was the worst. Of course, this ended in another big dose of drama once I realized what was going on, and to try and divert all of it that was coming back onto me, I went to Dragon, since he was always there, and had a more mellow attitude towards everyone, and he was actually pretty caring and smart. He unfortunately went to the one person who wouldn't believe us, Obley. Well, she was absolutely distraught, crying about how
Her children just never truly loved her.
pointing how we always wrecked her relationships and how we probably did it because she was fat and a woman. Making no sense in that matter at all, since it was Family Beard that had been lying all along. She preached her rights and how our words were against those rights, causing a whole drama that just didn't really fit, making me even more confused. When I tried mediating, she dropped a bomb that would cause me to leave for reals this time.
You should just stay out of this. You aren't even a real man. You are no son of mine.
She should not have said that. Again, causing me to leave and take about half the family with me as I went. I hadn't heard from her for a good few years, making life better for me, and life experiences came and went. And when I was just about 25, I got a message from one of my friends who had my old Facebook. Yes, I changed it because I wanted nothing to link me anymore to my past for reasons that I might mention later on. She messaged me there saying that there was a certain person called Obley messaging her about me. Things got a lot more distressing after that. But unfortunately, this is the last that we heard of this story. Dang it! What a cliffhanger! I'm actually surprised how invested I got with these neckbeards, like, making each other's lives hell online. This is supposed to be fun? People do this every day for fun? God, it sounds like a living hell. I hate it. But it did provide some quality cringe. I hope that OP will come back and finish the story one of these days. And if they do, then I'll be sure to let you guys know. Keep up on it. I got so many bookmarks going now, but this is yet another one of them, and I'm sure some subscribers out there will be able to help me out. I usually don't get into online drama. Like, I find most online stories pretty boring. They're like, this drama happened in my Discord server, and I'm like, ugh. Who cares? But this, I don't know. It got me. It hits different for some reason. I guess because it's a big fake family that just like thrives on drama and terrorizing each other and incest, and it's just so deep, dude. Oh God, what a rabbit hole I've gone down. Maybe I will have to do that Second Life video that I was talking about. This has the potential for some quality cringe. We might expand from tabletop gaming into, what do you even call these fucking things? Like virtual online chat rooms or something like that? Oh, it's wild. I never got into it. I was big into World of Warcraft and guild drama and shit like that, but they don't require me to log in every day or sit on Skype with them. God, I couldn't stand that. Never in life.
We don't take kindly to your types around here.
We don't take too kindly to people who don't take too kindly. My college professor asked me to move in with him. Arborbeard's call for companionship. Arborbeard. He's an ent. Treebeard. Trigger warning, there are themes of sexual assault. Also edit, reworded, fixed errors. I wrote this late last night. Anyways, hi all. I think it's time that I tell my story, especially after watching many Neckbeard videos. Also, if you see this, Red, keep up the good work. Hey, thanks, Beardy Story. I definitely will. I definitely love to share these stories with you guys, whether they end up extremely cringy or extremely, desperate and, with a message of hopefulness at the end. That's kind of the two vibes we got going around here, and I absolutely love it that way. Anyways, to keep things standard, it's best that I introduce our cast of characters. So, introducing OP, a college-age student trying to transfer from community college, unknowingly getting groomed by his professor. For reference, I'm a guy with average build and average stature. I'm into doing stuff outside, like hiking and biking, although I do indulge in some community service to feel good about myself. Already, OP, you seem like a good egg. I'm sorry you had to go through this in advance. The professor, who shall henceforth be known as Arborbeard. He's a professor of philosophy at my community college, who has a very weird obsession with trees. Yeah, you can rule 34 just about anything these days. He oversaw a student club, which I joined, that dealt with planting stuff around campus. Arborbeard is 6'1" at 350 pounds, with the stereotypical childlike nature of a neckbeard. Bad children. Our dear old beard also happens to be gay and from a religious background, which is important to our story. Bob Marley, Yaman, the student who ran our club. Bob was known to smoke marijuana and listen to lots of reggae. Yeah, bro, I plant trees, but I also smoke trees. He and Arborbeard usually butt head for different reasons pertaining to club politics. Bob Marley definitely knew what he was talking about when it came to botany and green stuff. Persimmon, which is a reference to Arborbeard's favorite tree, a bisexual club member who was the object of Arborbeard's desire. Persimmon, or Perry, was an effeminate person with an emo aesthetic. Oh, I know a couple people in the comments are into that. Robert Corbell, I'm talking to you. Anyways, with introductions out of the way, let's get started. It was about 3 years ago. I had to complete certain requirements to graduate out of my mediocre community college. One of the classes I had chosen was philosophy because it seemed interesting. Yeah, and somehow making tests and standardizing philosophy makes it a lot less interesting from what I found. By this point in my college career, I had not managed to make friends, as everyone already knew each other from their respective high schools, so I was trying to find a club to join in order to branch out socially. Also, social interaction gets tiring for me. Oh, preach. I'm so with you on that last sentence, OP. First day of philosophy class. I get into the large auditorium-style lecture room where I got to meet Arborbeard. He didn't strike me as anything weird, at least at first. Arborbeard was indeed your run-of-the-mill professor with a goatee and gray hair, all the while sporting an "I don't want to be here" face. After screwing with the computer for what seemed like hours, he finally got through the first day's stuff, like syllabus and assignments. I knew this class was going to be easy based on the assignments alone. Just turn things in and get a grade. By the end of the class, Arborbeard said, "We need some extra hands for the planting next Tuesday. Feel free to inquire with me about it." For me, this was an excellent opportunity to join a club and try and meet some people, all while doing something that I legitimately enjoyed. I ended up inquiring and asking about how the club worked. However, unbeknownst to me, this would be the beginning of a very weird relationship with our dear Arborbeard. The club. In the spirit of keeping things simple, I'll consolidate this part of the story to try and keep it short. In the first meeting of the club, it was the usual introductions and agenda setting. One thing to note is that other people had to come out and water the plants, so it was important to stay in contact with each other. Being the responsible person that I am, I volunteered my time to water the plants. To communicate, we used a group chat app to keep things in check. However, some of the students, including Bob Marley, gave Arborbeard their personal phone numbers to keep in contact with him, as his phone would not install the app. Boomer problems! I didn't think anything of it at the time, and I gave Arborbeard my number. In the following days, Arborbeard would contact me with, "Water the plants, I'm too busy," type of texts. Fine, I can do that. It's not the worst thing to go out and water those plants, at least for me. However, it became a regular thing to unload his club responsibilities onto me. Anything to not get out of the air conditioning, I guess. The first major project came and went without a hitch. Arborbeard did help, but not too much, as he didn't want to throw out his back. Oh no! I started a club for planning and I don't like to plant! You stupid, bro. Now, the second major project had me involved in the planning process, and here's where things got a bit more interesting. One of Arborbeard's responsibilities as the club overseer was to get funding for our projects, so he did hold some power in the club. Officially, he didn't intervene, but that was total bullshit. When something didn't go his way, he would throw a fit and argue with Bob Marley about it. One of those times we headed out to the nursery, we had to get plants chosen by our other club members. One of these plants that we had to get was a citrus tree chosen by Perry. However, Bob Marley, in his haze, you know what that means, and he forgot to purchase said citrus tree. This sent Arborbeard into a massive temper tantrum about how Bob was making decisions without other club members' involvement. This caused Arborbeard to threaten Bob with cutting him off from the funding, but it never did happen when everything was said and done. Bob and Arborbeard never really saw eye to eye on things involving the club, while Bob was just kind of in a haze, purple haze, and flaked out of club meetings. Arborbeard would regularly throw tantrums because he didn't get his way, threatening to cut funding to the club. This would happen a few more times in my time at this club, but nothing did come out of Arborbeard's childish antics. Yeah, I think he's just trying to throw his weight around. Quite literally. The texts. While Arborbeard may not present himself as a traditional neckbeard, he certainly was one on the inside. It's the beard on the inside that counts. Visit Teespring. Get the t-shirt. I made it. It's here. He showered and he didn't try to force his view on others. However, he was definitely a man-child, and a very creepy one at that. The creepiness didn't really show up until I started getting texts from him. Now you might think, OP, why'd you give your phone number out to a professor? Or, OP, he's just being nice. Firstly, I learned that lesson pretty quick. Secondly, Arborbeard was beginning to text me outside of school hours. He was texting me after 10 p.m. of all times. Hey, you up? No, bitch. Leave me alone. The first time this happened, Arborbeard had texted me a long essay about some tree that he had seen on a hike. This wasn't a copied and pasted article from Wikipedia. He wrote out a whole damn essay for me to not read. Just give me the TLDR, bro. Now, I'm the type of person to act interested in real life, but this text made me rethink how I should act towards certain people. He talked all about the local flora and fauna to me in real life. However, outside of school, at 10 p.m., I was not ready to learn about a fucking tree. I didn't even respond to him until the next morning, and I just said, nice, in response. One word to reply to a wall of text. There's nothing more passive-aggressive, and it's absolutely beautiful. Well played, OP. I probably would just ghosted him, but I like nice. That's pretty nice. He took this as his chance to write a whole other essay on another tree that he saw, all in text. This boy really does love trees. By this point, I think he could tell how uninterested I was with this, so he did back off. For a while, that is. At the time, I did find it weird that he was texting me at 10 p.m. However, this was before he came out to me. Coming out. I took 2 classes with Arborbeard. The first being a general philosophy class, the second being an environmental ethics class. A neckbeard teaching an ethics class. The sweet irony of life. The latter class had us going on field trips to different local preserves, learning all about their respective flora and fauna. I found the class both relaxing and interesting, and I also learned some important details about Arborbeard. With these field trips, students either had to take their own cars or carpool. I would switch between the two because I didn't feel like using my own gas to drive to these parks. Damn right. Stuff ain't cheap. You think I'm gonna do this for free? Bite it. One class, we took a field trip to a nearby trail. I opted to carpool with Arborbeard because why not? To break the silence on the drive, I asked Arborbeard why he had chosen philosophy as his career. This is when he told me about his sexual orientation. He ultimately wanted me to understand
Why his family hated him,
and
why religion was so against men being with men.
fair enough. I think that's something that can help him on his journey of self-discovery. I came out in support of his sexuality because I think people like him need it, but I kind of regret doing that. I'm with it, OP. I mean, you can be whoever you are, but don't use it as like a tool to try and take advantage of anybody else. In this same car trip, he took the liberty to comment on my appearance. He said things like,
You're keeping trim and fit.
and
I wish I had your body.
that can be taken a couple different ways, OP. Please clarify, had your body like on you, or had my body while it's still on me? Because either way, it's not gonna happen. I just want to be clear. Mind you, I do not have the physique of a god, but I guess compared to him, that's exactly what I had. I guess I was the only one who would
Break his long dry spell.
God, dude. He tried to get on Grindr, but the app wouldn't install. I kill me. The pandemic. After the latter incident, Arborbeard didn't make any more mentions of his sexuality, which makes me even more suspicious now that I think of it. After leaving the environmental ethics class, I was no longer required to take any more classes with Arborbeard. In pre-pandemic 2020, the club was basically beginning to fall apart anyways. Bob Marley was beginning to flake out on more meetings, while he wanted me to take the lead. I wasn't really wanting to for many reasons, but it was mainly because this was my last semester at this school. I also knew very little about botany. After the 3rd club meeting of the year, I was done with trying to keep things together. Arborbeard also began telling me how bad of a person Bob was because of
how much marijuana he smoked instead of taking charge.
Bro, let people do what they want to do. He's a college student. You're a teacher. Get it together. Once the pandemic hit and lockdowns happened, I didn't hear much from Bob or Arborbeard. I was mostly grinding out my last semester in order to transfer to a better college. Now, I'm known to be a homebody. Most of us here are, OP. But I do need to get out of the house to stay sane. This is when Arborbeard contacted me to
help with watering the plants.
I took this opportunity to get out of the house. Socially distanced, we met up at the campus and caught up. Mind you, this was the first time in a while that Arborbeard and I had had a one-on-one conversation. Without disclosing too much information, we do live in a hot part of the country. Being someone who didn't want to sweat in a nice shirt, I opted to wear a dry fit shirt and some football shorts. This wasn't anything flattering, but Arborbeard sure seemed to take notice. Arborbeard said things like,
You're looking trim and fit during this pandemic.
and
What's your workout?
what's your workout? Yeah, bro, like you're gonna go home and try it out? Who you trying to fool here? I did tell him what I did, but I was really beginning to notice how creepy he was. I had mentioned how Bob Marley had begun to flake out of the club meetings, and this sent Arborbeard on a rant. It's a bad topic choice, OP. Come on, bro. Arborbeard said that
Bob made unilateral decisions without asking Perry or anyone else.
in his eyes, Bob Marley smoked too much marijuana. That's a funny sentence. And he was becoming more and more insane with each passing day, all of which I knew to be false. Bob was apparently
a narcissist who threatened him.
Arborbeard was referring to something in the past, but didn't mention exactly what had happened. I still wonder what it was. Arborbeard also managed to sneak in some clever double entendres about some of the other club members. Something about
drinking their Kool-Aid and other various bodily fluids. Oh, God!
Nope. That is the best cringe. God. Please never again. Shiver indeed. I can't remember the exact context of this part of the conversation, as my mind thankfully blocked most of it out. By the way, yes, I have talked about this with a therapist. Well, thank God for that. In the last 3 videos, we've had mentions of therapists. If you're someone out there looking for a therapist, you probably should get into it, you know? Everybody can utilize therapy in some way. Sorry for the tangent. After we finished watering the plants, I went home with a very bad taste in my mouth. Was it because of those bodily fluids? Oh, I'm dying. But it still wasn't enough for me to cut Arborbeard out completely. Oh no, it indeed gets worse with the next part. Car troubles and a lonely man-child. A few days after Arborbeard's rant about Bob Marley, he texted me saying that
his car battery had died.
I found it weird that he was texting me specifically about this, but this is Arborbeard that we're talking about. After I mentioned that you could take an Uber home, he said that
those people have been partying
and that he
didn't want to breathe the same air as them.
Who, the Uber drivers? What are you talking about? Now, for reference, Arborbeard lived about 40 minutes away from the college. So this bastard mentions that he was
gonna walk all the way home.
He's not gonna make it, bro. He's gonna have a heart attack before he gets there. Through some miracle, this guilt trip did manage to work on me. Oh, P, come on. I'm rooting for you here. Come on. So I said that I would come down and pick him up. So I drove to the campus and indeed did pick him up. He thanked me because he knew that
I didn't party like some of the other people he knew.
Most likely referring specifically to Bob Marley. On the way up to his house, he mentioned that
I haven't had any students at my home in a while.
Yeah, I wonder why. Anyways, after getting on the highway, he leans over to
check my speed
several times. My speed is slow, bro. My speed is stop, okay? I do not want any more of this. Now, Arborbeard didn't care that I was speeding, so it was even weirder that he was leaning over to check. We finally get to his house. He pays me and shows me around. Oh no. It was an older A-frame style home that needed some renovations. Honestly, going into his home was a mistake in itself. Yeah. He was a lot bigger and could have gotten his way if he really wanted to. Thank God he didn't, OP. Jesus. I have noticed that guys seem to be like a lot less wary about stuff like this, but bad stuff can happen to guys too. You know what I mean? You should always be keeping your head on a swivel. Anyways, seeing the inside of the house, you could easily see his neck-beardy ways. It was a mess of books, trash, and other things that he just didn't bother to clean. The whole place was in dire need of renovations. He takes me on a tour and shows me a back bedroom with more stuff on the floor. It was a bedroom that he slept in and used as another place to drop his trash. I say trash, but it was basically just random stuff that he collected. Side note, his master bedroom was too full of stuff to sleep in, so he slept in this back room. That is really weird. Maybe he's compulsive or like a hoarder in some way, but he manages to hold down a job, so I don't know. Again, therapy might help. As he enters said room, he mentions that
He's looking for a roommate.
now this is where the alarm bells really started going off. He said that rent
Was $300 a month.
which was a steal for that area, but I could
Pay in other ways. By doing work around his house.
He disguises his true intentions by saying that
It's a very good place to crash because it's so close to the college that I wanted to go through.
but I saw through this thinly veiled attempt to pull me into his weird little fantasy. I politely rejected his offer, saying that I still wasn't sure what school I was going to. Well, as with any neckbeard, we know that they don't take too kindly to rejection. We don't take too kindly to people who don't take too kindly. I'm cracking myself up. Arborbeard was no exception to this rule. With his first ploy failing, he fell back to pity stories. When talking about the state of his house, he mentions that
With a roommate, I could finally afford to renovate this old home.
but this doesn't work on me either. I mentioned that I wasn't going to commit to something like that until I knew for sure which school I was going to. After all of this, he offers me a beer, which for me is a no-brainer. But I watched him open that bottle like a hawk. The beer never left my sight either. Looking back on this, I really shouldn't have accepted, but I had never tried that beer. I will give you some points here, OP, for being very leery about accepting a drink from this man, but like, you shouldn't really even be in his house in the first place after some of these comments that he's made. I don't care if I never tried that beer before. I'll make a note of it and go buy my own pack down at the liquor store, you know? While drinking with him, Arborbeard mentions that he
Doesn't get women.
and that
Young men like me get it.
nope, again. At this point, I decide to just chug my beer and leave very promptly. However, there are still a few loose ends to be tied up, and I would make sure, damn sure, that they would be tied. Arborbeard still needed to get his car back and mentioned that he would pay me to drive him until the next day. Oh, one more day. Hang in there, OP, you can do it. Tying up loose ends. I'm a person who likes to see things through, most of the time. In this case, I would be paid well to drive Arborbeard back to his car. For reference, the car was taken to a dealer near the college. Is that the dealer that Bob Marley's buying from? Oh, you mean a car dealership? Never mind, that's different. God damn it. I agreed to take Arborbeard back to his car because I felt that I needed to tie up some loose ends before I graduated. For one, Arborbeard had told me that he could block Bob Marley's graduation because of his grades. This did kinda scare me, not gonna lie. I didn't want anything to happen to my graduation if he didn't get his way. Knowing my community college, there was more than just a little bit of corruption among the ranks, so I played my cards right. I get a text from Arborbeard about his car being ready, and that
His door was unlocked while he took a shower.
oh no! Definitely not. I appreciate the info, I guess, but never in a million years. Whew. That's another very good shiver. I arrive at Arborbeard's house and just waited outside the door until he got out of the shower. I was greeted with a shirtless Arborbeard, and boy, it was something to behold. Belly and everything. Since Arborbeard hadn't heard from the mechanic, he took it upon himself to show me his trees, along with yet another attempt to guilt me into being his roommate. The mechanic called, and I drove there like a madman. After we got there, I asked for the money and was met with a weird look. He just gave me the cash, and I promptly left. This was my last interaction, thankfully, with Arborbeard. After that, I told Arborbeard that I'd be moving to a far-off college with a family friend. After said text, I blocked his number and never responded again. Reflection. Although Arborbeard did not come across as a neckbeard, he was one, deep down. Arborbeard didn't stink, watch anime, or carry a katana, but Arborbeard did act like a child and had a messy home. And he also meets the criteria of ReddX Industries with the delusions of grandeur and the self-entitlement, specifically towards OP's body and things like that. As for OP, well, I did graduate with no hitch. I went to a better school and was looking to do my master's degree. Although I can't disclose too much about myself in order to protect my own identity, I have gone to a therapist for different reasons, but I did mention this story to them, so I have processed this in many different ways. As for Arborbeard, well, he still texted me, even after I blocked him. A glitch with the messaging app that I used would allow for picture messages to come through, even though someone was marked as blocked. Oh god. That's bad news bears. I never bothered to answer Arborbeard's call for companionship. And OP also didn't mention what the pictures were, so I hope that our imagination is scarier than the reality. I eventually told Bob Marley what happened, and he agreed that, yeah, dude, that is a weird situation. I only really told Bob because I wanted to stop Arborbeard's predation of young men. However, I'm not sure if Bob Marley ever told anyone else or even remembered for that fact. Yeah, it's good to smoke up, but quantity is important, you know? Just save it for a little like once in a while treat or something like that. You ain't gotta blaze every day, Bob. Now, some of you may ask, why didn't you take this up with the authorities or the college? Well, like I said, the college that I went to was full of cronies and corrupt people, so I didn't really trust the administration at our school. As for the authorities, I found that it would be better to say nothing. Involving police and lawyers could have affected my transfer out of that hellhole, and in my eyes, the faster I got out, the better. As I write this, I look back and wince about everything that has happened. I don't regret what I did, because there really wasn't much that I could do without screwing up my own college prospects. I've not seen Arborbeard since said incident, and I am fine with never seeing him again. Arborbeard, please go get help. You need it. Also, let's never talk again. Yours truly, OP. Had a couple of close shaves there, didn't you, OP? God damn, dude. I cannot imagine being in a situation like this. Although you did remain anonymous, I could tell from the story that you are a good little noodle, you know, and you try to do the best for everybody around you, and neckbeards do tend to take advantage of things like that, unfortunately. Even after getting creeped out and showed around his home, you're like, yeah, I guess I'll go back the next day. Oh, God. Oh, I will say the ending, a little bit anticlimactic, you know, take the money and run after you drove him to the dealership, but that's probably the way that I would prefer things to end, all things considered. Like, what is the alternative to that, you know? Either something bad happening to OP or something bad happening to Arborbeard, which Arborbeard definitely does deserve it, but I do understand that, you know, OP's got his own program going on. He doesn't want to risk his own college prospects in some sort of futile effort to like try and take down this predator, you know? And that's fine. We all have paths in life. You escaped unscathed. Arborbeard doesn't seem like the most malicious sort, you know? There were a few situations there that were pretty hinky, but he didn't do anything aside from make some lewd comments, so hopefully karma will get to him in the end, and I have no doubt that it will, but yeah, I think OP made the right choice by not trying to take it into his hands or anything like that. Definitely a weird story. Low rent is a great lure, especially for like poor college kids, but oh my god, that would not have been worth it. So I'm glad you escaped, OP. I'm definitely glad that you wrote this story down for us. It was beefy, it was beautiful, it was delicious, and I'm super glad that you're doing well for yourself now. John, you are the Neckbeards.
No, John. You are the demons.
Neckbeard Wars! A ghost story. Ooh, spooky maybe. As usual, I haven't really vetted it. I just kind of made sure that it was legible. And I'm like, okay, let's dive on into it. Hey, I've been listening to all these videos every day while going to work. And it always makes my day shiny. Bright and shiny. Currently writing on mobile, and English is not my mother language, so I apologize for the inconvenience and potential mistakes. Don't worry about them potential mistakes. I'm gonna try and reword it, as I tend to do, if it doesn't come off right. I'm here to tell you the tale about the time that I was surrounded by neckbeards. But I was surrounded for one simple reason. I was, and still am one, in a way. Ah! John, you are the Neckbeards. Before getting to the main story, I need to give some background information. It's going to be a long backstory, but I think it's necessary to understand how I became that person. Well, if it's Neckbeard related, tell me all about it, OP. I come from quite a humble family with not that much money. Therefore, my parents used to work quite a bit and didn't really have the time to take care of us. But I mean, I can't really blame them because they were working to pay the bills. That's part of it. Then, war came to our home country, and we fled the country that me and my siblings had been raised in. War never changes. They didn't speak the local language, and they struggled financially as they had to basically start over from zero again. My mom used to work in a biscuit factory back then, and could provide us with as many salty, dried biscuits as we could possibly want. Since we had no money, these and dried cup of noodles became our main food every day for years, until things finally got better. Damn, this is rough already, dude. I hope you're doing better now. I hope your whole family's doing better now. I mean, obviously they don't want to live in the middle of a war, so it's good that they fled, but oh boy, that is something that I hope never to have to experience. We lived in a very poor neighborhood, so it was quite common to see cockroaches everywhere. My brother stopped his studies in order to get a job and get money to feed us and provide more food for the family. He is my role model. He spent like 90% of his salary paying bills and 10% entertaining us. At the time, he bought some mangas and a Super Nintendo! Oh my god, the SBS! This was the beginning of my love for mangas, video games, and anime. At that time, everyone knows in the late 80s that loving manga, card games, and comics made you a geek. I mean, like in a bad way. Or at least an awkward guy that most people don't want to be around. I kept watching my brother play games, and we both started learning Japanese and English this way. I was maybe 6 or 7 at the time. As my diet was not really good, I started to become a bit fat. And of course, being of Asian descent, I got bullied at school.
Because surely I was practicing martial arts, just like Bruce Lee, right? And all Asian dudes have a small dick. Everyone knows that.
And I was hearing this kind of shit every day, and teachers also used to make fun of my name because it's not easy to pronounce. Even the teachers, bro? I mean, it was the 80s. Basically, everybody was on cocaine anyways. That's no excuse, but it is a reason. The other school kids used to make me fight with other kids. I don't know, like kid stuff. I guess just because they were lacking hobbies. At some point, the guy that I was put into a fight with got fed up and started bullying the other kids that made us fight, and I became friends with that bully kid. We spent the following years during junior high school spending like all of our free time watching anime, mangas, and playing Magic the Gathering, D&D, and video games. Yeah, dude, bro out. Everybody needs a friend. Just one. One really good friend. I'm not gonna lie. These were absolutely gorgeous years for me. Even though the other students told us that we were garbage or awkward or whatever, we didn't really give a shit. It was awesome playing Magic during recess. We spent so much quality time playing GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, and Smash Bros back then at my friend's place. Whoa, we just jumped forward like 15, 20 fucking years. I thought this was from the 80s, and now we're talking about Smash Brothers? Bro. Don't do that shit to me, OP. Don't do that. So now I guess we're in like the late 90s, early 2000s era, which makes a little bit less sense that everybody's being racist to this kid at school. In the 80s, okay, maybe, sure, I would have bought it because I wasn't around to see that shit for the most part. But late 90s, early 2000s, I don't remember seeing anything like this.
You're fucking a white male!
But there I go, off on a fucking tangent. All right. Back to the story. As mentioned before, my house was filled with cockroaches, but I didn't really know that cockroaches were that bad. I mean, they were here before us, right? And one day, a cockroach came out of my backpack. One girl saw it, and then I was nicknamed the cockroach guy. Ew! And my group got bullied a bit more, but we didn't really care about our image anymore. My brother used his savings to send me to some martial arts classes so I could get ready to retaliate against bullies in the future. My family's economy did get better about this time, and we were able to eat normal food later on, as well as taking care of our cockroach issue. I want to point out that I was indeed fat. Maybe not because I was eating too much, but because I wasn't eating the right stuff. Dried biscuits, noodles, and fried chicken were not the healthiest options. It's a lot of carbs, bruh. Every time I got rejected or bullied, I was eating more dried biscuits to try and fill the giant hole in my heart where love should have gone, which of course only made me even fatter. That's a vicious cycle, OP. I'm glad your family's moving up, but yeah, you gotta move up with them, you know what I mean? I started getting into shape during high school. He knows what I mean. Look at him. Look, he's getting into shape. Got some muscles, grew way taller, no more bullying. I changed my image and became a goth. Ugh. Stupid, I know, but still, no regrets. I grew a ponytail as well, and of course, I wore a fedora. Oh, I bet you looked so dashing. High school was great, and I don't really know why my image was getting better, but I guess that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I got friends from all types of group. The rap kids, goths, rich kids, etc. I was a virgin, and I didn't tell any of my friends this because they didn't ask. And because with the look that I was rocking at the time, I thought it was pretty obvious. No, you thought it was cool, OP. That's why you wore it, right? Come on. Just to let you know, I had not even kissed a girl. But people were always coming to me to confess their problems and ask for advice about dating. The story I remember the most is when one friend, really popular, and a neckbeard on the inside. He was a total geek, but enjoyed sports and became quite good at basketball after junior high school. It is the beard on the inside that counts, but I mean, if he's really popular, he can't be like that terrible of a person, could he? I don't know. I can't pass my judgment given one sentence of information. Anyways, this kid comes up to me and he asks me, "Oh my God, OP, man, this girl. And she asked me out. She wants to go to the movies. Like, what should I do? Her name is Sandy. Wow, John Travolta." I'll call this girl JG for jealous girl. Not because she was jealous, but because I was jealous. And this was actually a girl that I wanted to date. Did you sabotage him, OP? Inside, I was friggin' jealous, but so happy for my friend. Did you sabotage him? Just to let you know, again, I have zero experience. I was barely able to talk to girls as I was extremely shy inside and basically just showed a confident face on the outside. All the experience that I know is from manga and movies such as Pretty Woman or Love Actually. These kinds of movies. Romance movies. And I still love them to this day. Hell yeah, dude. I cry at The Notebook. I'm not ashamed to say so. But did you sabotage him though? Let's get to the root of the issue. I gave my friend what I like to consider good advice. Aw, see? OP's a nice guy. And I told him, get to the movies, and during the movie, look into her eyes. But not in a creepy way, please. And if she maintains eye contact, get your face closer to hers and try to kiss her. If she deflects and turns her cheek towards you, well, bro, you know what that means. And he replied, damn, OP, your advices make so much sense. Thanks, bro. He thanked me, and a few days later he came back and told me it was a hit. They became a couple. Damn, OP, your advices are always so good. You probably kissed like so many girls, bro. I wish I had your experience. I didn't want to ruin his enthusiasm, so I just replied, well, you know me, bro. Or do you? He should have known that I was spending most of my free time playing Dungeons and Dragons, watching animes and manga and comics, so I don't know what made him think that I was some sort of ladies' man, but hey, I ain't gonna correct him. In the end, high school did make me a better person. I was still a neckbeard since I didn't really know how to communicate with girls I was into. I didn't have any problem communicating with girls that I wasn't attracted to, but when I met girls I really liked, it was just showing the worst of me, and things got really cringy. So that's the first part of this story. I know it was a long background story, but I needed to clarify in order to introduce you to the main dish, which will be the ghost beard that I met at university. I hope my writing was okay, and I'll submit the next part ASAP. Hope you enjoyed the story so far. You are an interesting case, OP, because you're basically only a neckbeard on the outside. If you were a true neckbeard to the core, you would have sabotaged your friend on that date. You would have tried to swoop in, take that girl from him, blah, blah, blah. But no, you did the right thing. You're like, okay, bros before hoes. Let me share this advice that I got from a movie with you. Which, if it works, I guess whatever. We were all awkward little kids at one time, but I do appreciate, you know, sharing your story of the blossoming, the coming of age. And it seems like you were really able to find yourself in high school, you know, brush off judgment from other people, which is always admirable. They're like, ooh, what are you playing, Magic? You're a nerd. Whatever, bro. I like Magic. Sue me. So yeah, overall, I think OP is a pretty cool dude. I am curious as to his judgment on this other neckbeard, the neckbeardiest of neckbeards, aka Ghostbeard. So I guess we'll go ahead and just jump into the second part and see how it goes right now. Neckbeard Wars Part 2! The Phantom Menace! No, wait, that's wrong. Alright, whatever. Let's do the second part and the main dish. A few new characters do need to be introduced. EF for Elf Friend, since he looked like an elf and had really long hair. One of my best buddies to this day and awesomely smart. He managed to get into university 4 years early. That is pretty crazy. Everybody's like, yeah, I got my 4-year degree. I'm 22. He's like, cool, I'm 18. I got it already. And they still won't hire you because you don't have the experience. God damn it. This isn't going to be a tangent about the school system. Here we go. GF is Goth Friend because he had long hair and was dressed with a long black coat and Doc Martens. He was awesome and smart as well. GG, Goth Girl. One girl that really changed my life and had to deal with the main story. And Ghostbeard. Well, you'll learn about him pretty soon. That is quite an entrance. I don't have the words, just watch. I entered university 1 year later than most other people. After graduating from high school, I still didn't know what to do, so I just worked here and there without knowing so much what I actually wanted to do. Nobody actually knows what they want to do after high school. That's why I went into the Navy, man. You just move in a direction, and as long as you're moving forward, they're all pretty good directions. Just, you know, keep on keeping on. After that year, however, I finally decided that I wanted to go to university and learn Japanese, of course. To give you some information about university students who are studying Japanese, it is just a nest of neckbeards. That relates to yesterday's video. And I include myself in that statement, with all kinds of people having motivation to work in the country of the rising sun. Some worked really hard and studied well and achieved their dreams. Others were just here
Because they're foreigners, so it'll be totally easy to find a Japanese girl. Japanese girls like white meat. With our big dicks and foreign looks, it'll be as easy as breaking an egg. High five, bro.
So yeah, there were obviously this kind of guy in there as well. Guys and girls, I mean. The Neckbeard package is indeed included. Needless to say, many classes had a strange smell. Winter was horrible, as we were not allowed to open the windows. I guess it's more than a strange smell. It's an overwhelming smell that makes me want to stab my brainstem. Our teachers told us,
First year students, you are 1,000. By the end of the first semester, you will only be 400.
And they were right. I totally fucked up my first year and had to restart everything all over again. University was nothing like high school. True. You learn what you're willing to learn. If you skip classes, whatever, it's your choice. I have to tell you that in the country I live, public university is way cheaper than it is in the USA or in Japan. I was working 2 part-time jobs to pay my fees, so I just plain wasn't able to attend all of my courses. I restarted the year over, and this is where the real story begins. This time, I was prepared. I had some savings so I could focus purely on my studies and not have to work at the same time. I was seeing many people and making friends with most of the university. I mean, there are about 20,000 students in the university, and about 70% were girls. That seems inordinately high, OP. But that might be what attracted the neckbeard. Who let that neckbeard in here? As I was seen as a confident person, and I had lost quite some weight, I was awarded the title as the party organizer. I used to organize quite some parties at high school. I mean, literally like in the high school. We drank a whole bottle of Jack Daniels while making a barbecue at school, which of course all this was prohibited, and I ended up getting woken up in a tree on Friday morning in the schoolyard by the principal, who was still wearing his pajamas. No way the principal came to school in his pajamas, bro. This is a dream.
Did you have fun yesterday, OP?
My first blackout. Maybe I'll tell that story another time. I don't know what subreddit that will fit into. Anyways, I organized a party with all the first year students and maybe 70 people in a Japanese restaurant. We had some fun. I helped everyone who was shy to introduce themselves. I asked all the first year students to sniff some wasabi as a welcoming ritual. I know it's disgusting, but it was fun to see them comply. Bro, you're quickly turning into a piece of shit. Can I tell you're straight? That's not cool. I was sad for OP when he was getting bullied, but as soon as he becomes the bully, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you, dude? Why would you do this? Maybe he's gonna get along swimmingly with this neckbeard. I guess we'll see. This is where I met him, Ghostbeard, or GB. Ghostbeard was not a typical neckbeard. He was skinny, had many anime t-shirts, he was tall and had sharp blue eyes, some neckbeard growing, but not really that much. He seemed friendly, and introduced me to someone that he had just met as well. Elf Friend! One of the best things that he actually ever did during his time with us. I met Goth Friend as well there, and many other people. We ended up becoming a huge group. We made a lot of parties, and Ghostbeard slowly but surely showed his true colors. I'm still trying to peel myself off OP making these kids sniff wasabi. I'm really mad at you, OP, just so you know. At first, Ghostbeard was really friendly. We were all having fun with each other, but, you know, it was friendly. Sniffing wasabi, but it was friendly. You just make them do whatever, but as long as you say it's friendly at the end. I drew a dick on his face, but it was friendly. God. But Ghostbeard did not take these words in a funny and friendly way. He always looked shocked. Oh my god, this is the story where OP is actually worse than the Neckbeard. I hate to call him out on it because it is a subscriber submitted story, but also I gotta call him as I sees him. I pull no punches, okay? When taking pictures, for some strange reason, Ghostbeard was always blurred on the final print of that photograph. He also had no smell. Oh my god! Which is why I call him Ghostbeard. Oh, I thought he was like Whitey from Me, Myself, and Irene. Just an albino. This is much better. He was a big fan of soccer and animes such as One Piece. His dream was to get
A girl like Nami.
big boobs and slender, for those who aren't familiar with One Piece, which includes myself, because that is way too much anime for me to sit down and actually commit to. Anyways, university was tough. We were having fun, but we were also paying really close attention during our classes. Ghostbeard, however, was almost always on his phone or just generally not paying attention. Then he was always asking for our notes during classes. He used to say,
It's not that I'm slow. It's just that time is going too fast for me.
time dilatation's a real bitch when you're dead. Oh, that is a golden line. I think I would remember that quote forever. At the beginning, we didn't really mind all this. I mean, we were all friends, and that'd be great if we could all succeed together. But at some point, it definitely became annoying. While we all wanted to spend time studying, he always told us that we could do it later.
Come on, it's boring. Let's get out and go somewhere.
Huh? Bro, exams are coming up, you know?
Yeah, it's okay. It's not gonna be that hard.
Ah, now we're seeing the Neckbeard come out. That lovely entitlement. He failed the first semester. It was just a total disaster.
That's okay. I just need to get good grades in the second semester.
He told us. Okay, if you say so, Ghostbeard. At some point, I was introduced to some other friends, and that made our group even bigger. We slowly started to notice some small, annoying behaviors from Ghostbeard, with him saying things such as, I'm just gonna use the Mario sound effects,
Gay people should be.
I don't want to say bad words, as I do not share these opinions, but yeah, not a good place for those type of comments. I don't know if any place is a good place for those type of comments. He'd also say,
Lesbians are sick. It's a disease.
etc. Are you sure that these are some small, annoying behaviors? Or are these like glaring personality flaws? I know OP ain't from the US, but you know, I do believe pretty heartily in freedom of speech and such. But I also believe in the freedom to not have your bigoted opinions shoved down my throat and to pick the friends that I actually want to hang around with. Friends that represent me, which means the first time, boom, that's it. I ain't gonna see you no more. Ghostbeard got ghosted. But I suppose that attitude towards friendship comes with age. When you're young, you want to have that big social circle and feel like the really cool guy and make them all snort wasabi. What the fuck? I'm still not over it, OP. Ghostbeard's definitely worse than you are, but that's not a cool thing to do. I'm going on record. Then, while having a small afternoon get-together drinking with some friends, Ghostbeard urged us to come with him to a bookstore.
Come on, guys. You'll all get fat if you do nothing but stay here drinking,
he said. Yeah, that's okay, Ghostbeard. We're just chilling. No rush. We were having fun. Talking about life, expectation. You know, being a 20-something. Ah, I remember it fondly.
Come on, guys. It's so nice outside. We should go for a walk,
he insisted. So we all decided to just comply and walk to the fucking bookstore with him. Then he bought his new One Piece manga and told us,
Okay, see you later, guys.
Wait, what? You're leaving now? We were shocked.
Yeah, I have one piece and now I'm gonna go read it.
Why did you want us to come with you if you're just gonna leave us after buying your manga?
Oh, come on, you guys. You ruined the atmosphere.
Oh, it's some good cringe, boy.
I have my manga. I'll just see you guys at school.
And then he left. We were a bit pissed off, but mostly disappointed to have left our nice little spot with our drinks. That is so self-centric and also an extremely insecure move. He doesn't want to go to the bookstore by himself, so instead, he uproots this entire group of friends to go with him. And as soon as he gets what he wants, he's just like,
Okay, see you later.
oh, he's detestable. I don't even know if he realizes how detestable he is, but my God. I hope you got some more drinks. I hope you salvaged the day. He always showed up late for movies as well, like 20 minutes or more.
Sorry, guys. I had some issues finding a parking spot.
We sighed, but at some point, it was just no use. He was a very bad liar.
Oh yeah, that dang parking spot.
And we called him out and said, you came by subway. How could you have any trouble finding a parking spot?
Well, I had to park my car near that subway station.
Driving a car myself, I know that at this subway station, it is basically always empty. I know that for sure. Anyways, he was also the worst driver ever. You know what a keyboard warrior is, right? Those people who feel mighty invincible trolling people through their computer. Well, Ghostbeard was a wheel warrior. An absolutely evil driver who would always honk at people, drive over the speed limit, and just swore all the time at other people.
Get off my road, you bitch! Fuck your mothers!
You ate my shit! Unfortunately, he and I were the main drivers for our group. Other friends had no car, so sometimes friends would just flat out refuse to get in his car. And I would have to drive the entire route twice to pick everyone up. Oh God, what a pain in the ass. Alright, you win some wasabi points back for that one, OP. That is above and beyond the Call of Duty. At the end of the day, I don't blame them. I understood their worries. Nobody wants to die because some maniac is at the wheel. We all went to a convention and had a lot of fun, buying manga and all the stuff that we do as manga lovers, and we all separated that evening. Some of us wanted to end the convention by eating in a nice diner with some burgers, but Ghostbeard had spent all his money on anime paraphernalia and just couldn't join us. The day after, at the university, he got a black eye. Is that related? He got kicked by a junior high school student and got all of his stuff taken away. Oh boy. Sucks to suck, I guess. We did sincerely feel bad for him, but we could not understand how a 22-year-old man could be beaten into the ground by an extremely young neckbeard, like 16, 17 years old. If you're 22, you should not be losing to a 16-year-old, okay? You are bigger, you are stronger. Anyway, speaking of that, we later found out from the exam board that his age wasn't even 22. He reassured us that
it was just a mistake, and he would ask for that to be changed.
Turns out it was not a mistake. This guy was 28, not 22. Why would you even lie about it? Jesus. When he told us he wanted to
date a Japanese schoolgirl because they're cute and innocent,
we found that kind of cute and creepy. Now we just find it completely creepy. It was creepy the entire time. That's not acceptable. It's fine to have your little fantasies and play pretend, but she's just a child, god damn it. You're 28. Leave that girl alone. So many stories, man. They just went on and on. Of course, he failed the second semester. Let me explain how. Elf friend, goth friend, and some other friends, as well as me, were all studying, while Ghostbeard was just sitting around watching something on his smartphone. The next exam was about marketing, and it was tough. Hey, Ghostbeard, you should study a bit. This exam matters a lot. You should try and get at least like a 50 out of 100, I said.
Nah, I'm gonna focus on Japanese conversation and get a 100 out of 100,
he replied. You know that Japanese conversation is coefficient 1, right? Marketing is coefficient 2, so even if you get a 100 in Japanese conversation and a 30 out of 100 in marketing, you will still not pass the final exams.
Don't worry about me. I'll be fine,
he replied, with an extremely cringy smile on his face.
I'll finish the marketing exam quickly, and then I'll just work on my Japanese exam,
he added. All good, bro. Up to you. I can't live your fucking life for you, I guess. So we all packed up our stuff and got to the marketing exam, which was supposed to last about 2 hours, which meant that we probably wouldn't be able to leave until at least an hour and 30 minutes later. That was just common sense for me and the other friends, and basically anybody with 2 brain cells to rub together. But that does not include Ghostbeard. Once we arrived and sat down, I just felt like I should remind him about my concerns. By the way, Ghostbeard, you do know it's supposed to last 2 hours, right?
Yeah, of course. That'll give me plenty of time to focus on Japanese when I leave the class,
he replied. You know that teacher, Mr. M? He'll probably not let us leave until at least an hour is up. I just heard,
1 hour!
I turned back. Ghostbeard was supposed to be behind me, and I tried to add, by the way, you should, but he was already gone. Living up to his namesake, I see. You know when in some like Looney Tune cartoons, some of them characters are speeding so fast that you just see dust kicking up from where they formerly were? Well, that was exactly what had happened to Ghostbeard. Or like in Naruto, I think it was Kagebushin no Jutsu, when one character vanished in 1 second and was just replaced with a piece of wood. That was it. I mean, his head's basically a block of wood anyways, isn't it? You replace one piece of wood with another piece of wood. What's the difference? All of us just saw that dust floating down as he magically disappeared in like less than 1 second. Well, turns out the exam was a Q&A. Difficult one, but still manageable if you knew your stuff. You'd get 1 point for each correct answer, minus 2 points for each thing you got wrong. Since we all worked and knew our stuff, we were able to finish pretty quickly. We actually finished the entire exam in 15 minutes. We went into the cafeteria to see him just totally shocked.
What the hell? How did you guys get out so quickly?
He yelled. Well, turns out the test was Q&A and we didn't have to stay if we had already finished, said Elf Friend. It was quite easy, in fact, Goth Friend added. Ghostbeard turned red, totally mad, at me. No personal responsibility here.
Oh my god! I knew I had to take it. It's OP's fault if I don't succeed. I shouldn't have listened to him and now I'm screwed.
We could not believe it. At this point, I have no expectations regarding Ghostbeard, but Elf Friend, who was about 10 years younger than this guy, and is usually the one defending him and trying to find him excuses, totally lost it, and explained in a very strict but calm voice, listen, it's time to take charge of your responsibilities and face up to them like a human being. OP has nothing to do with your test results. You are failing because you were too lazy to work. Last time you told us, oh, you couldn't work because you're still shocked about Michael Jackson versus death. What the fuck is that? Yes, that is a true explanation he gave. The next time you couldn't study because your favorite soccer team lost a match. Grow up. Grow some balls. Seriously. I couldn't hear the rest of the scolding, but mainly this is what was said, and I was laughing so freaking much. And you know what? He also failed his Japanese exam and did not succeed in any of his classes. I mean, OP can't laugh too hard. Didn't OP fall on his face because he's working and shit? But yeah, I guess working and failing is different than just being a lazy slouch and failing. So that was the end of the first year for us, but not for him. And not the end of the story, as I'll write the second part of this saga if you're interested to know what happened with Goth Girlfriend. Monumental story. Let me know if you're enjoying the story so far. Cheers from a neckbeard in Japan. Because yeah, I ended up working in Japan years later. Well, congratulations for achieving the dream and such. I hope you aren't making any of your Japanese coworkers snort wasabi. I'm sorry for calling you a piece of shit. In the end, you did turn things around, okay? It's just one bump in the road. We're all young. We all make mistakes. I hope you won't hold it against me that I held that against you, all right? I definitely appreciate the story. There was certainly a good amount of cringe, more than I expected, but it's the light kind of cringe, you know? After the heavy cringe that we had while digging through r/neckbeard nest yesterday, I think we needed some lighter stories, so I definitely do appreciate this. Obviously, you can post the other parts. I would much appreciate it if they are related to Neckbeards or one of the other subreddits that I can attach it to. That would be cool. Otherwise, you know, it might take me a while because I'm trying to find a place to put it and whatnot. Ghostbeard is definitely a character. I hope if you do write another story, it includes more Ghostbeards. Goth girlfriend, like, okay, if it's cringy, I'll read it, you know, but I'm not so much into just a love story. I want the Neckbeards in there. Or maybe goth girlfriend's a legbeard. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But I definitely appreciate you sharing with us. User Wandering Black Cat. And as always, my subreddit is open to absolutely anybody who would like to share some stories with me. It is always massively appreciated. I mean, without stories, we basically don't have a channel. So thank you to anybody who has posted. I hope that you guys will like, comment, and or subscribe. If you did enjoy the video, maybe share it around. This could be a pretty good entry into Neckbeards. You know, it's just a light little bit of cringe. You know somebody in college, you know somebody beardy, just slip this their way. Slip this in the DMs. Whatever, post it on the Facebook, the Twitter, what have you. I'd appreciate all that stuff. I would also appreciate if you check out the link in the description, or links rather. There's actually a whole shit ton of them. We've got my Amazon affiliate link, basically kicking me some dosh anytime you buy something from Amazon. As long as you click that link first and use that tab, then I get like a little scratch from it, which is pretty cool. As I mentioned, we've got my subreddit, r/ReddX reads. We've got Wifey's channel. We did r/Tinder. You'll also see that in a pinned comment. Whoop-de-whoop. Then there's the social media stuff, you know, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Discord, all that sort of happy stuff. Oh, and how could I almost fake forget about my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons? Josh K, currently the highest donator. He is the king, but I mean, all of my patrons equally important. Thank you all so much. But I would like to thank quite specifically ZeroMMX, Lady Nix, Robert Waits, Pope Squid, Rebecca H, Cider Drinker, Tato Fair, The Last Shinobi, Mark 211, Michael Undead, Aaron W, Mitch, John Hero, Josh K, Candy Sora, DigiNZ, Fire Drake, Little Lone Wolf, Lone Island, Shara, Marvy the Moth, Miss Monday, Silent Revolver, JM Coon, Leon Embers, Ryan Kirby, Redwind, and Synaptic Boomstick. Somebody said in the Discord that the last patron is lucky because they get a little more oomph on the name, and I guess that is true. That's a good reason to sign up as any. I should randomize the list at some point, but I think that would boggle my brain. Obviously, the Patreon, super important, you guys. Some videos do get demonetized, and it's just really nice to be able to lean back and not sweat that as hard. It's really hard to tell what works and what doesn't these days. I mean, Moonhorse even had some trouble. We were talking about that on Discord a couple days ago. Oh, Lord. YouTube is a volatile place to work, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And thank you guys for supporting me when it does go tits up. Obviously, anybody else who can support that is massively appreciated. Thank you in advance. But if you can't right now, don't worry about it, guys. I just appreciate you coming on through, hanging out with me, and I hope that you come on back and hang out with me again tomorrow. Because really, the views is how my beard gets buttered. In order to join us again, you'll need to keep yourself safe out there. Wash your hands for super cereals. But also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy today. Maybe watching another ReddX video. I think I plugged my r/neckbeard nest video like 3-4 times. I'll plug it one more time. Go watch that. It's pretty alright. And of course, always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I will see you in the next one. And until then, bye-bye.